Hi everyone, today we're going to be making this beautiful dress. I made it using the wave stitch pattern and it's more like a one size fit all kind of dress, so I hope you guys enjoy the tutorial. Let's head over to the materials. Alright, you're going to need different colors of your choice. You can have either 2 colors or 3 colors, whatever you prefer to use. I'm going to be using this big twist acrylic yarn. It is 380 yards, 170 grams. It's a 4 medium weight yarn. It recommends a 5mm hook, and that's exactly what I'm going to be using. I don't know how many skeins I'm going to use at this point, but once I'm done, I will let you guys know how many skeins I use. I will actually attach it on the screen. You're going to need some scissors. You will need a tape measure, and then you're going to need 2 stitch markers and a darning needle. I'm going to start with the red color. Let's get started with our foundation chain, and this is how we are going to do it. So first of all, make a slip knot, insert your hook, and make a chain of 4. So yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 4 times. And once you're done with that, you're going to yarn over and skip 1, 2, 3, and into the 4th chain from the hook, you're going to insert your hook and make a double crochet. Once you're done with that double crochet, this is how your work should look. You should be having this loop, which we're going to work into next. Okay, so next you're going to chain 3, yarn over and insert your hook in that first loop and make a double crochet. Chain 3, yarn over, and in that second loop you're going to insert your hook and make a double crochet. Chain 3, yarn over, and make a double crochet in that previous loop. And this is what you are going to repeat over and over until the loop is long enough to go through your head. Just for the demonstration of this tutorial, I have made a total of 30 loops. But for the actual dress, I made a total of 38 loops. So once you have your loops completed, you're going to make sure that they are not twisted, like so. You'll want the chains to be on one side and the double crochets to be on one side as well. Then you're going to slip stitch in the first loop. And you'll have something like this. Now we're going to start our first row. Now whilst working on our first row, you want to work over the double crochets and not over the chain. Okay, so just going to turn my chain around like this. So I have the double crochets on top and I have the chains at the bottom. I hope that makes sense to you guys. So once you're done with that, you're going to make a chain of 2. The chain 2 does not count as a stitch, so you're going to yarn over and make 1 double crochet in that same loop, chain 2, yarn over, and in that same loop you're going to make another double crochet, chain 1, make a double crochet in the next loop, chain 2, make another double crochet in that same loop, chain 1, make a double crochet in the next loop, chain 2, and make another double crochet in that same loop. And what we're making here is V stitches. We're making a V stitch, chain 2, then to make the next V stitch we need to chain 1 and then make the second V stitch. All right, we're going to continue like this, making V stitches in every loop. then chain 1 to make the next loop, the next V-stitch. Alright, you're going to continue like this all the way around. This is what you should be having. This is how your first row should be looking. And this is my last loop. So I'm going to make my V-stitch in there. Then chain 1. Then we're going to slip stitch on top of the double crochet. Ignore the chain 2, but on top of the double crochet, you're going to make a slip stitch. And this is what you should have. You're going to insert your hook in the chain 2 space and slip stitch. Chain 2, then turn your work. And in that same space, you're going to make a total of 2 double crochets. That's 1 and 2. Then once you're done, you're going to yarn over. We're not going to chain this time. So yarn over, and in the next V-stitch where we chain 2, you're going to place there a shell of 2 double crochets. Chain 2, 2 more double crochets in that same space. Yarn over, skip the chain 1 space, and in the chain 2 space you're going to make a shell of 2 double crochets. Chain 2, 2 double crochets in the same space. And this is what we're going to repeat, making a shell in the chain 2 space of the previous row. So every V-stitch gets a shell of 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets, all in that same space. I'm going to repeat this all the way around. I'm working towards the end of row 2. So once you get here at the end, you're going to yarn over, and here remember we started with the 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets. So in this last space, you're going to make 2 double crochets, chain 2, then slip stitch on top of the first double crochet. And that's the end of row 2. So at the end we have our V-stitch, at the end we have our shell here as well. And this is how your work should be looking. To start row 3, you're going to chain 1 and turn your work. Then in the chain 2 space, you're going to make a slip stitch. Then chain 2, which does not count as anything, yarn over and make 2 double crochets in that space, like so. Then yarn over and make a double crochet on top of this next double crochet. So place there your double crochet like so. Then you're going to yarn over and you're going to skip the next 2 stitches. So skip 1, 2, and into the 3rd stitch you're going to make a double crochet on top of it. You'll have this, yarn over, and in this next space you're going to make 2 double crochets. That's 1, 2, chain 2, yarn over, and in that same space make 2 double crochets. Then make a double crochet on top of the next stitch right here. Then you're going to skip the next 2 stitches, and into the 3rd you're going to make a double crochet. In the chain 2 space, make 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 more double crochets in the same space. one double crochet on top of the next stitch, okay. So you place a double crochet on top of the next stitch that is right next to the chain 2. Okay, yarn over, skip the next 2 double crochets and into the next, and into the third make a double crochet. The chain 2 space gets 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 more double crochets, all in the same space. Then double crochet on top of the next stitch, yarn over, skip the next 2 and double crochet on top of the next, double crochet 2 times in the next chain 2 space, chain 2, then 2 double crochets in the next space, and then make a double crochet on top of the next stitch. And this is how your work will be looking at this point. So we're basically making a shell in the chain 2 space and making a double crochet that is closest to the chain 2. Okay, we're making it before and after. I hope that makes sense, but it is very clear. That is what you're going to repeat for the third row. I'm at the end of row 3. This is 1, 2, 3. I'm at the end of row 3. So once you get to the end of row 3, you're going to yarn over, skip this next stitch and the next one right here, and place a double crochet on top of this next stitch, like so. Then yarn over, and you're going to end with 2 double crochets in this first space that we worked into, like so. Chain 2, then slip stitch on top of the first double crochet. And this is what you should have. Okay, you'll have something like this. And this is the collar part. This is the part that goes through your head and around your, around your neck. So we're going to keep making it bigger and bigger. All right, now we're off to row 4. To start row 4, you're going to chain 1 and turn your work, then slip stitch in the next chain 2 space, chain 2, and in that same space make 2 double crochets. Then you're going to make 1 double crochet on top of the next 2 stitches. So yarn over, double crochet on top of the next 2 stitches, and then when you get to this point, you're going to skip 2, just like we did with the previous row. So yarn over, skip 2, and into the next 2 stitches you're going to make 1 double crochet. Then in the chain 2 space you're going to make 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 more double crochets in that same space. After that, you're going to make 1 double crochet on top of the next 2 stitches, like so. Skip 2, make 1 double crochet on top of the next 2 stitches, then make your shell in the next chain 2 space, one double crochet on top of the next 2 stitches, yarn over, skip 2, make 1 double crochet on top of the next 2 stitches, And that's the pattern you're going to repeat for this row. Okay, and this is what it's gonna look like. In the chain two space, I'm making my shell. All you have to keep in mind is that every time you get to this space of skipping, you need to have the last two stitches. So that means before this stitch and this one, you have to work into the stitches that follows, and you have to do the same for this other side. Okay, I'm working towards the end. I'm going to skip these two stitches, double crochet on top of the next two, then make two double crochets in the chain two space, chain two and slip stitch to complete the row. And this pattern we just completed is what we're going to repeat. So as we go, we're making increases. All you have to keep in mind is skipping these two stitches and working in the rest of the stitches. Row 5, chain 1 and turn, then slip stitch in the chain 2 space, chain 2, make 2 double crochets in that same space. So as you can see now, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches, but we're going to work on top of the next 3, and then we're going to skip the next 2 and work on top of the next 3, and then in the chain 2 space. Okay, now we're going to skip the next 2 and make 3 double crochet, make 1 double crochet on top of the next 3 stitches. Make your shell of 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets in the same space, then make 1 double crochet on top of the next 3 stitches, skip the next 2 and make 1 double crochet on top of the next 3 stitches. Make a shell, and then repeat that same pattern. Okay, so it's pretty simple, guys, and self-explanatory that once you get to this space here, you have to skip these 2 stitches and then work on top of the rest. So you're going to repeat that. Okay, at this point, this is how it's gonna look like, and that's okay. So you're going to keep repeating as it gets bigger, and then we're going to be considering the space for the sleeve. So once you have enough space for the sleeve, this is when I will be back so I can show you guys how we're going to work on the rest of the body of the dress for the dress. Okay, so I'm going to repeat this and then I will be back to show you the rest. So I quickly went ahead and made a few rows, and at this point this is how my work is looking. And as you can see, our stitches kept on increasing from where we started from to where we are now. I'm working on row 9 and I'm going to yarn over and skip the next 2 stitches, and then I'm going to make 1 double crochet on top of the next 7 stitches. So skip 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7, like so. Then make my shell of 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 more doubles in that same space, and after this I'm going to make 1 double crochet on top of the next 7 stitches. So it went on like that, just like the same pattern, but making more double crochets than what we started with at the beginning. So I hope it made more sense, but if you have any question, feel free to ask me in the comment section below. And by the time I got to row 9, one skein was already done, so I had to attach my second skein of yarn. And I'm going to complete with my 2 double crochets in the chain 2 space, chain 2, oops, slip stitch on top of the first double crochet there. Alright everyone, I went ahead and made a total of 9 rows, and this is how my work looks. And as you can see, it kept increasing and increasing, and at this point I have enough ruffles that I want for my dress. So I suggest we all make, so we're all going to make 9 rows no matter what size you are making. Okay, so after your 9th row, that is where we're going to separate the dress and start. After the 9th row, that is where we're going to split and make and create the armholes, and then work on the bottom part of the dress. All right, we're now going to start working on the bottom part of the dress, and to do that we need to leave out space for the armholes. So for my case, I'm going to count these points. This is 1, 2, as you can see, 3, 4, and on the 5th one, this is where I'm going to place a stitch marker. I don't know where my stitch markers are, but this will work. Okay, so now this space that I have here is all for the sleeve part. Okay, and after that I'm going to go on top here on this other side of the dress and count 4 as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and on the 5th, this is where I'm going to reattach my yarn from, and then I'm going to start working from this point to the stitch marker. Okay, we're no longer working around the sleeve. And remember, we have to turn our work at the end of each round. make a slip knot with the color that you want to use, or if you're using the same color, you're just going to keep going. Okay, so I'm supposed to turn my work here, and what I'm going to do is turn it around. Okay, so this is how we're going to do the bottom part. We are no longer making increases, so this is going to be slightly different. So we're going to insert our hook in this first chain 2 space where we start on the bottom part from. Okay, you're going to insert your hook in the 2 spaces at the same time, like so. And then you're going to attach your new color. Okay, chain 1 to secure it. So after this, we're going to chain 5, and the chain 5 is going to count as 1 double crochet, chain 2. So chain 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. The first 3 chains counts as our first double crochet, and then we have a chain 2. After that, you're going to yarn over, and in that same space that the chain is coming out of, you're going to insert your hook and make a double crochet. Remember, we're going through both chain 2 spaces at the same time. So insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, and there we have this completed. I hope it's clear enough, guys. Once you're done with that, you're going to make 1 double crochet on top of the next 8 stitches. Okay, insert your hook, make your first double crochet, insert your hook, make your second double crochet, and do this until you make 1 double crochet in every stitch for the next 8 stitches. Okay, once you get to this point, you're going to skip the next 2 stitches, just like how we've been doing. So skip the next 2 and make your double crochet in the next stitch. And you're going to do this in the next 8 stitches. That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, when you get to the chain 2 space, remember we've been doing 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets in the same space. This time we're going to make 1 double crochet, chain 2, yarn over, and make 1 double crochet in the same space. And this is how we're going to keep. We're no longer making increases, so making 1 double crochet, chain 2, 1 double crochet in the same space is going to help us keep the same number of stitches, because at this point we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 stitches before the increase. So we want to keep it this way. We'll have to keep it at 8, no more increasing like how it started here. After that, you're going to yarn over and make 1 double crochet on top of the next 8 stitches. Okay, again, once you get to this point where we're skipping 2, you're going to skip them and make 1 double crochet on top of the next 8 stitches. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Again, once you get to the chain 2 space, you're only making 1 double crochet, chain 2, 1 double crochet in the same space, and then continue making 1 double crochet on top of the next 8 stitches. All right, so you're going to repeat this pattern until you get to where we have our stitch marker, where we start, where our second armhole begins at. Okay, so I'll meet you there here shortly. Okay, now I'm here where I have my stitch marker. I'm going to take it out. And now again, we're going to go through these 2 chain spaces at the same time. So what you're going to do is place one on top of the other, like so. Then yarn over. Hold up. This is my last stitch. You're going to place the first chain 2 space on top of the other, like so, because we want to go through both at the same time. So I'm going to place it on top, yarn over, go through both, and make my double crochet, chain 2, go through both at the same time, and that's how it should be. And after that, you're going to cross over on the other side and repeat the pattern. So yarn over and make 1 double crochet on top of the next 8 stitches. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, after your 8 stitches, you're going to yarn over, skip the next 2, and make 1 double crochet on top of the next 8 stitches again. It's very important that you keep count of your stitches, because once you mess up, once you make increases, then your project is going to get super big. Then you end up getting bored to finish it. Every time you get to the chain 2 space, you make only 1 double crochet, chain 2, 1 double crochet in the same space. Okay, that's how we're doing these increases this time. Then after that, make 1 double crochet on top of the next 8 stitches. All right, I'm going to repeat this and then I'll meet you guys at the end of this round. Okay, this is my 8th stitch. When you get to the end of the round, you're going to slip stitch on top of the 3rd chain. So remember, we chained 5 here, so count 1, 2, 3 and slip stitch on top of that 3rd stitch. And that's how you complete the round. To start our next round, we're going to slip stitch in the chain 2 space. So insert your hook, slip stitch, then you're going to chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, Then you're going to turn your work. Remember, we turn our work at the end of every row, at the end of every round, okay? So after a chain of 5, you're going to yarn over and make a double crochet in that same space. Okay, that's what you'll have. After that, you're going to yarn over and you're going to make 1 double crochet on top of the next 8 stitches. So this here is my first stitch, and I'm going to go through it and make my first double crochet. Then I have 7 more left. Make 1 double crochet. Once you get to this point, you're going to skip 2 and make 1 double crochet on top of the next 8 stitches. When you get to the chain 2 space, you're going to make 1 double crochet, chain 2, 1 double crochet in the same space. And as you can see, we have stopped making increases at this point. On our last row, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 stitches before the 1 double crochet, chain 2, 1 double crochet in the same space. We have 8 stitches, just like the previous row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And now we still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, hope you get what I mean. But that's the number of stitches you want to have for the rest of the rows. Okay, so after your double crochet, chain 2, double crochet in the same space, you make 1 double crochet on top of the next 8 stitches. And the pattern is going to continue like that. Again, skip 2, double crochet on top of the next 8 stitches. When you get to the chain 2 space, you make 1 double crochet, chain 2, 1 double crochet in the same stitch, in the same space. Okay, and that's what you're going to repeat. I'll meet you guys at the end of the round so I can show you one more time how to start the next row. I don't know why I like saying row every time, even when I'm working in round, guys. But yeah, you get what I mean. Once you get to the end of the round right here, I'll meet you back here. All right, guys, I'm at the end of my round, and I'm ending my second row of white since we joined the sleeves and all that stuff. So once you get to the end, as you can see here, we have this stitch, so you have to be careful not to skip it. And the best way to know is by counting how many stitches you have here. So for me, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we're supposed to have 8 stitches just like the previous row. So what you'll have to do is yarn over and place 1 double crochet on top of that next stitch, and then slip stitch on top of the 3rd chain to complete the round. And that's what you'll have. Then slip stitch once in the next chain 2 space, chain 5, then turn your work. You'll have this, and then you're going to repeat the pattern. Making 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So once you turn your work, this right here is your first stitch. So insert your hook and double crochet in the next 7 stitches. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Then you're going to skip the next 2 and make 1 double crochet in the next 8 stitches. Then make 1 double crochet in the chain 2 space, chain 2, make another double crochet in the same space. Okay, so you can see that we have only 8 stitches before the double crochet chain to double crochet in the same space. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you need to keep that number at the end of every row. We're no longer making any increases. And that's going to be the pattern. You're going to repeat this over and over. You can change colors in any way you want to, but I'll be changing colors at the end of every skein of yarn. So this will also depend if at the beginning, if you made more rows than what I made, then obviously your work is going to be slightly different. You may have more stitches or less, but as long as you follow the instructions, you'll have a perfect project at the end of it. All right, guys, I'll keep going, and I'll be back once I'm done. This is how it's looking so far. We have our sleeve. It's super big, just like how I want it to be. And this whole part is the bottom part of the dress, and I can't wait to see it completed. So stay tuned, guys. I'll be back once I have a few rows completed. So go ahead and make yours for as long as you want it to be. I believe mine is going to be a short version. I'm not going to make it super long. It may be slightly above my knees. And yep, continue. And 45 rounds later, this is what I have, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Thanks for watching.